we're diving into a story about a prophecy so absolutely terrible, it threatens to tear a family apart before it can even really begin. This is an ancient folktale, all about inescapable fate, a son's tragic destiny, and it really makes you ask, can we ever outrun what's written in the stars?
So, where does our story start? Well, not at the beginning, but with this chilling prophecy. He will kill his father, eat his brother, and marry his mother. I mean, can you imagine hearing those words spoken about your own newborn son? Especially after you've already been through a lifetime of struggle. It's just a devastating curse. So how on earth did this family get to such a dark crossroads?
To really get what's going on with this prophecy, we have to understand the people at the very heart of it. So let's go all the way back to the beginning and meet Mani and Karima, a man and a woman whose entire lives were basically a testament to surviving the impossible.
So picture this: a desolate valley, and two solitary figures just happened to cross paths. They were total strangers. But then they started talking, and they realized they were basically reflections of one another. Each of them had endured the exact same hardships, and in that shared pain, they found a strength they'd never had alone. And they just decided, okay, let's walk the same path, together.
Surviving in the desert demanded way more than just being strong. You had to be clever. And one night, trapped in a cave by a ferocious lion, Mani proved he was both. As this lion lunged with a deafening roar, Mani didn't even flinch. He just threw a handful of ash and tobacco right into its gaping mouth. The beast just recoiled, choking and blinded, and in that split second of confusion, well, that's when Mani made his move.
With one single swing of his axe, he sliced off the lion's tail. It became his trophy, right? A constant reminder of his victory over this powerful enemy. And get this, from that day on, he wasn't just Mani anymore. He was known as Dhil al-Asad, the lion's tail. And Karima, she was his equal in every single way. One time, she was cornered by thieves, and she didn't fight. She flew. She scaled a vertical cliff with a speed that just seemed to defy gravity, leaving her attackers staring up, totally stunned. And that skill earned her a name that perfectly captured her grace and agility: Sa'ek el-Gazelle, the gazelle's leg.
So you've got the lion's tail and the gazelle's leg. I mean, what a power couple, right? Two legends forged in the desert. And together, they finally found a reason to stop wandering. They had a son named Kareem. But in a world this harsh, moments of peace are, well, they're tragically short-lived.
Just look at their journey. It's one extreme after another, from this chance meeting to a life of survival to the absolute joy of their son's birth. But then, it all came crashing down. As they were trying to cross a flash flood, a massive tree was ripped from the ground and it struck Karima and her infant son.
And the force of that blow, it tore baby Kareem right from his mother's back, and the raging waters just swallowed him whole. Mani managed to drag Karima to safety, but their child, he was lost to the flood. And this was the tragedy that would define the rest of their lives and, without them knowing it, pave the way for that prophecy to come true.
This is the point where the story really pivots around this single terrifying idea: inescapable fate. The belief that certain events are just already written and no amount of struggle or love or loss can ever change the outcome. For Mani and Karima, their greatest tragedy was somehow only the beginning.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Years have passed. The raw wound of their loss has scarred over. Mani and Karima have built a new life for themselves, a quiet life on a farm. And then, one day, there's a knock at the door. It's a young stranger, and he's looking for work. He has no idea he has just walked right back into his own life.
And here is the absolute heart of the tragedy. See, we know who this young man is. We know he's Karim, their son, saved from the flood and raised by a kind shepherd. But they don't. To them, he's just Barkat, a stranger they've hired to work on their land.
The irony here is just, wow. It's almost cruel. Manoy, trying to protect his home, hires his own son as its guard. He puts a rifle in his hands and says, "Take the weapon and be careful." He has just handed his son the very instrument of his own death.
Okay, so all the pieces are on the board now. The family is back under one roof, even though they don't know it. A weapon has been introduced, and now the prophecy begins its terrible work.
It all happens on a totally ordinary evening. Mani's in a good mood, and he heads to his vineyard to get some grapes. But he makes one tiny, fatal choice. He takes a different path, one that brings him up behind the guard post. In the deepening twilight, a simple mistake of direction sets the whole tragedy in motion.
On high alert, All Barkat hears is a rustle in the dark, a sound where there should be total silence.
He peers into the night, sees a shape moving between the lines, and his mind jumps to the only logical conclusion: an intruder. Acting on pure instinct, just doing the job he was hired for, he raises the rifle and he fires.
The shot just echoes through the night, and then a cry from the darkness. Not the cry of a stranger, but a voice he knows. "You killed me! It's Mani." Can you even imagine that moment of pure horror? Barkat rushes forward. He doesn't find a thief. He finds his master, the man who gave him a home, bleeding out on the ground. Unknowingly, tragically, the first part of the prophecy is complete. He has killed his father.
But here's the thing. This is only the beginning. The two most disturbing parts of the prophecy are still yet to unfold. It leaves us with this really chilling question. When your fate is this dark, can you ever truly escape it? Or does every single step you take to run away only lead you closer to the end that was always meant for you?